Two men killed in early morning accident on the East Coast. GCOM deputy CEO slapped with 2 misconduct charges. Sting operation nets traffic rank accused of extortion. Single mother of 4 sentenced for trafficking marijuana. In the region, Liat likely to resume flights in November. And internationally, Zimbabwe's food crisis. About 60% of population faces starvation. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. I am George Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us. This morning, Deputy CEO of the Guyana Elections Commission, Roxanne Myers, faced the Georgetown Magistrates Court to answer to misconduct charges in relation to the protracted 2020 general and regional elections. This morning, GCOM's Deputy Chief Elections Officer, Roxanne Myers, appeared before the Georgetown Magistrates Court where she was slapped with 2 charges of misconduct in public office in relation to the 2020 general and regional elections. Myers was not required to plead to the charges. She was arrested on October 6, 2020 after she turned herself in at the CID headquarters in Eve Leary, Georgetown. Myers was released on $300,000 bail. She is expected back in court on October 23, 2020 for statements. Myers is the latest in a series of GCOM officials who have been brought before the courts for their actions during this year's regional and general elections. Channel 2 Headline News, George Gonzalez. Today, the Ministry of Health announced that the nation has reached a grim milestone. As of October 8th, 2 more persons who tested positive for the novel coronavirus have died. This takes the total number of deaths from the pandemic locally to 100. The 2 male victims, one from Region 7 and the other, Region 3, died while receiving medical care. The Ministry of Health said that it, quote, expresses sincerest condolences to the family of the 2 deceased and will make every effort to provide all the necessary support during this difficult time to render any assistance needed, end quote. They have also called on the Guyanese public to observe the COVID-19 health protocols, including the ongoing curfew, which is in effect until October 31st, 2020. An accident on the East Coast between a motorcycle and a car this morning claimed the lives of both drivers. Bibi Bacchus tells us more in this report.
Police are investigating a fatal accident that claimed the lives of 2 men this morning on the Chateau Market Public Road, East Coast, Demerara. The 2 are 24-year-old Kevin Passad, who was driving motorcar PEE 3030, and 52-year-old Lionel Brower, who was riding motorcycle CJ 7915. According to the police, the motorcar collided into the rear of the motorcycle. Passad reportedly lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a canal on the northern side of the road, while Brower was pitched off his bike about 100 feet from the point of impact. Both drivers were picked up in an unconscious state with various serious bodily injuries. Nevertheless, they were both taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital where they were both pronounced dead on arrival. For Headline News Updates, Bibi Bacchus.
Thanks, Bibi. Stick around. After the break, we have more news.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Oh gosh, what's this? Me son can't read or spell. Stop! 0 out of 20. Is what I gonna do here?
Hi guys, my name is Misconduct. missing, and I'm the senior teacher at the Treasure After School program. Due to the spread of the coronavirus and the need for social distancing, we have moved our in-class learning activities to online via Skype. On the online side, we will be focusing on spelling, phonics, reading, and the National Grade 6 assessments. For more information, you can inbox us or call us.
Contact us on 675-4379.
I can call them now.
Hidden Treasures, discovering gems in young minds.
Welcome back. According to the Ministry of Home Affairs, a traffic ring attached to the Brickdam police station was recently caught on camera extorting a minibus driver. Here's Esther Sobers with that story.
A traffic rank attached to the Brickdam police station is in hot water after he was busted by the Home Affairs Ministry for allegedly trying to extort a minibus driver at the Stabrook Market. In a press release, the ministry stated that on Wednesday the officer had pulled the man over at the market and requested his documents. When the rank discovered that the driver was missing his fitness, he sent the man home to retrieve the fitness and told him to return with nothing less than $5,000. Following the extortion attempt, the driver reported the matter to the Minister of Home Affairs, Ruthson Ben, who instructed his senior ministry officials to carry out a sting operation. The driver returned to complete the transaction as asked. However, the transaction between the cop and the man was recorded, and the officer has since been removed from the traffic department and is expected to face disciplinary measures. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony said the government is hoping to get the Center for Disease Control and Prevention at Liliendahl up and running as soon as possible. However, most of the equipment needed would have to be imported. Anthony said, quote, "We want to equip it to make sure it functions like a hospital, and we have ordered all the equipment to ensure we have diagnostic facilities that we will be able to set up in ICU. We are looking at 29 ICU beds there. We have a theater there that we want to equip as well so that if there is any need for us to operate on anybody, we'll have the conditions there to do that." End quote. Additionally, the installation of medical gas supply lines, which is needed for the ICU, would begin soon. Apart from this, Dr. Anthony said approximately 21 ventilators should arrive in Guyana by next week. A single mother of 4 has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for trafficking marijuana. More from Bibi Bacchus.
Anita Qualis, the 35-year-old mother of 4 who admitted to trafficking marijuana to support her children, was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment and fined $754,000. The minimum punishment for the offense is 3 years in prison, but the magistrate in the case agreed with the woman's attorney that there were sufficient reasons to go below the mandatory minimum sentence under the law. The magistrate, however, disagreed with the attorney's submission that she should be given no sentence of imprisonment on compassionate grounds. He explained that Qualis was a victim of sexual abuse and was not allowed to attend secondary school, and she also had her first child at age 15. He also stated that her abusive husband of 6 years deprived her of any advancement in life before abandoning the family to work in the interior. It was allegedly only after she lost her job in East Naked did she look to illegal means to support her family. He also noted that this was her first run-in with the law. Nevertheless, she was sentenced and charged for the offense. For Headline News Update, Bibi Bacchus.
Thanks, Bibi. Don't go away. Coming up after the break, Liat likely to resume flights in November, and Bangladesh gender violence skyrockets. 632 rape cases reported in 4 months.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Oh gosh, what's this? Me son can't read or spell. Stop! 0 out of 20. Is what I can do here.
Hi guys, my name is Misconduct and I'm the senior teacher at the Treasure After School program. Due to the spread of the coronavirus and the need for social distancing, we have moved our in-class learning activities to online via Skype. On the online side, we will be focusing on spelling, phonics, reading, and the National Grade 6 assessments. For more information, you can inbox us or call us.
Contact us on 675-4379.
I can call them now.
Hidden Treasures, discovering gems in young minds.
Welcome back. The cash-strapped regional airline Liat is undergoing a restructuring program, and it is likely to return to the skies in November. But Information Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Melford Nicholas, told reporters that he would not want to give a specific date as to when the airline will resume its operations. Barbados and St. Vincent and the Grenadines governments have agreed to sell their shares, leaving Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica as the only major shareholder governments of the Antigua-based airline. Earlier this year, Antigua and Barbuda unveiled a new plan for the airline, with St. John's proposing reinvestment of 108 million East Caribbean dollars. The airline had suspended its commercial traffic in March after many Caribbean islands shut down their airports as part of the measures to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Since the airline stopped its daily schedule, several smaller airlines have sought to occupy the space left by the regional airline. And internationally, millions of people in Zimbabwe could be left without any food if there is no help by December, the United Nations says. It says the problem has been caused by reoccurring droughts and an economic crisis, and the coronavirus pandemic has made things worse. Al Jazeera's Haru Mutasa reports.
1 head of cabbage, some cooking oil, a little bit of salt, and about 3 cups of rice is all Emma Kajiri has left in her kitchen. She says she'll have to make it last as long as possible to feed her family of 8.
Life is hard. We don't have much to eat. There is nothing good about our situation. We are barely surviving.
The UN's World Food Programme says more than 8 million Zimbabweans will not have enough food by December if there's no urgent intervention. That's roughly 60% of the population.
Malnutrition is of course something that affects mostly young children, pregnant lactating women. In Zimbabwe also there's still a large number of people who are dealing with chronic illness, and of course their needs, their nutritional needs are different from people who are otherwise healthy. So it's very important that we keep a close eye on that in the current circumstances.
Basic goods are now beyond the reach of many people. Growing enough food is not an option for some. Years of droughts, the economic crisis, rising unemployment, soaring inflation, and now coronavirus have hit families hard. Millions across the country are struggling in both large cities and rural areas. Desperate families like Emma Taurais are eating less. She has to feed 10 grandchildren. Her own kids either died or left the country to look for work.
I can only hope my neighbors take pity on us and give us food, even if it's their leftovers. We really don't know what we are going to do.
Zimbabwe's cash-strapped government gives food aid and a COVID-19 allowance of about $20 a month to some vulnerable families. Local officials are worried.
This guys is pathetic. Sometimes tears go down my cheeks because the situation they are surviving in is very, very bad.
Back in Mrs. Kajiri's kitchen, the children wait for supper. Frustrated, their grandmother says she hopes to never have to say to them one day she has nothing to give them. Harumutasa, Al Jazeera, Mashonaland West Province, Zimbabwe.
And finally, hundreds of Bangladeshi protesters clashed with police this week after a video of a woman being attacked was posted online. Human rights groups say abuses against women are only getting worse in the country. Al Jazeera's Leah Harding reports.
Anger in Bangladesh over the latest instance of violence against women. Students have been leading protests in the capital Dhaka for days to speak out against rape and other crimes against females. The protests flared after a video was posted online showing men stripping and beating a woman from a disadvantaged community. The clip was shared tens of thousands of times on Facebook before being taken down.
We have just one demand: death penalty for rapists. There will be no rapists in Bangladesh.
Among those in the crowd is the brother of a rape victim. His family reported the case and arrests have been made.
I want justice for my sister, which is why we haven't been here at the police station for the last 2 days in a row. We want severe punishment for those involved in this heinous crime.
Along with women, young boys and girls are also among the victims. This man says his 5-year-old daughter was raped last week.
I demand justice from Allah, the state and the society. I hope such things stop happening in the world. My child is 5 years old and the man is 22. I hope such things don't happen to anyone in the world ever. I pray to Allah for justice. I also seek justice from the Honourable Prime Minister.
According to activists, justice is something only very few victims of sexual assault and their families see.
These culprits are either directly involved with politics or they're connected to people who are very closely linked with people high up in politics. If we want to come out of this, it's imperative that justice is served very promptly and with due diligence.
Since the coronavirus pandemic and imposition of lockdowns, the number of rapes in Bangladesh has increased. Between April and August this year, 4 women have been raped every day.
We hope people will be more aware. Everyone should protest from wherever they are and make others aware.
Last year, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina said she wanted stricter laws to prevent rape, saying the crime is never acceptable. But protesters say the Prime Minister hasn't done enough and should resign. Students here chanting "Shame Hasina" as they demand and wait for systematic change to bring rape victims justice. Leah Harding, Al Jazeera.
That's all for today's regional and international news. Here is your 3-day weather forecast. That's all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. Tune in Monday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Also, visit our website at headlinenewsghana.com for all the news we couldn't fit in the newscast. Until then, take care.